The story begins with a man who introduces himself as Jack Choi, who works at the Kingdom Palace as an employee of a private security firm. In other words, he's a security guard. He remarks that he's not working as a guard because he did poorly in school. His parents left him with a huge debt when they passed away, and he became a victim of a real scam which forced him to work as a day laborer until an acquaintance of his got him a job here. As a homeless guy, working as a security guard at Kingdom Palace isn't such a bad job. There are plenty of places here where he can sleep, including the break room and even the guest house when he's lucky. The job itself isn't hard. The problem is the residents. Jack was working like any other day when he found a phone. He doesn't remember seeing this before, and wonders why it's here since the majority of unclaimed items are trash that people no longer want. He questions if someone discarded it, and if he should just take it since he does need a new phone after all. However, he still wonders if he should wait here a bit in case someone calls on this number. He decides to try calling the numbers in the contacts to find the phone's owner. However, he sees that the battery is dead and tries to remember where he put the charger. The phone suddenly powers on and the word hypnosis appears on the screen. Jack questions what the hell this is before the light suddenly starts flashing brightly and the phone starts host registration. Shocked, Jack sees that the phone is floating on his own and questions if it's a spy cam. Jack suddenly gets affected by the phone and slowly falls unconscious. Time passes and a security guard angrily looks for Jack, asking where the hell that jerk went. A girl annoyingly asks if he has to yell like that and questions if he's actually shouting at her, but he hurriedly assures her that shouting is just a bad habit of his. He chuckles and apologizes if he offended her in any way, but the girl annoyingly tells him to be more mindful next time like a spoiled little brat. The guard explains that Jack seems to be away at the moment, so he'll inform him of her request as soon as he returns. The girl angrily asks when that will be before a woman arrives, and asks the girl Jenna if she's at it again. She mutters that Jenna is always really hard on the security guards. Jenna says it's not like that. She's just asking him for a small favor, but he keeps insisting he can't do it. She says she purchased a new mattress but forgot to request a moving service. She's asked him to help her move it to her apartment, but it's apparently too much work for him. The woman asks how she could forget such an important thing and says she'd hate to see her beautiful face get wrinkled over something like this. Jenna appreciates her concern as the guy remarks that both of these are as nasty as they can be, inwardly questioning if they expect him to carry a mattress at his age, admitting that young people these days have no respect for the elderly like a boomer. The girl asks if there's no problem. So Jenna confirms this and says they just need a little help since she and her husband can't exactly move this huge mattress on her own. The woman admits that's true and says she's going to excuse herself now since she has a meeting to get to. As she leaves, the guard pleasantly wishes her a good day, seeing which Jenna remarks that he's disgusting. She says she wants the mattress brought to her apartment in any case, so the guard agrees. However, as she leaves, he angrily curses at her, remarking that she sure is full of herself for a girl who married someone his age for money. He wonders where Jack is loafing around. Meanwhile, Jack wonders where he is, remarking that he was about to discard the unclaimed lost items when he found a strange cell phone. He wonders if he's dead, if he hit his head and died when he fell, questioning if that really happened after he worked his butt off every day to pay off the debt he incurred because of the real estate scam. Jack suddenly wakes up at the moment when he tried to end things after getting scammed, but was too scared to go through with it in the end. Like a pathetic fool, he knew that even if he worked for the rest of his life, he would never be able to live in the fancy apartments he saw before him. He angrily asks why he must be the one who suffers when he's the victim. He says he'll never forgive the scum who robbed him of his life savings, and asks the system if it meant it when it said he would be able to dominate everything. The system assures him that it was speaking the truth, so Jack declares that he wants it all. A house, women, and all the rest. He wants to be in control, talk about being greedy. The system says he shall have what he seeks. Conflicted, Jack decides to take the system up on its offer since his life is already a failure. The system tells him to open his eyes and accept it if he's ready. Jack bravely opens his eye, and beside his unconscious body, the phone shows that the contract has been completed. The next day, Jack annoyingly sees a king-sized mattress waiting for him and questions if they expect him to move this by himself. He annoyingly says he can't believe these people and questions if they take him for a strong man, wondering how the hell he's supposed to carry this alone. Later in his office, the old guard furiously asks Jack where the hell he's been, so he slowly apologizes and explains that he took a tumble and blacked out in the storage room. The guard asks how he dared to slack off and reminds him that he should be grateful he even gave him this job, saying he's moving the mattress on his own. Jack remarks that the guard must have made such a fuss because of the mattress and sees that he's on his own. He decides to be careful since this thing looks really expensive and slowly lifts it up. However, he's surprised how it's way lighter than he expected. He wonders if that strange phone made him stronger, but says whatever's the case, that's one problem solved. A girl suddenly appears and asks Jack what he's doing. Surprised, Jack remarks that this is Ura, the wealthy seductress who likes to play around with men, admitting he can just never tell from just her looks. Ura cheerily offers to help him since it must be hard to carry that on his own. Jack hurriedly thanks her, but says he can manage on his own. He admits she's pretty, but wonders what she's scheming this time and if he's her next target. He sees that the elevator is here, but Ura asks why he's avoiding her gaze. Jack suggests that she take the elevator first and says he'll take the next one. Ura asks why the other bulky guard isn't helping him move this when he definitely looks stronger than Jack, and says they can both just take the elevator together. As Jack pushes the elevator in, Ura decides to help him, but Jack says she really doesn't have to do this. The mattress suddenly rips from one side, and Jack annoyingly hopes the mattress isn't damaged since Ura is just getting in the way. Talk about being ungrateful. Inside, he questions why she's standing next to him when there's plenty of space on the other side. Jack remarks that he didn't know he was on her list of targets and inwardly questions why she's showing a sudden interest in him. Ura tries to start flirting with him, but Jack's floor arrives, so he hurriedly gets out and wishes her a nice day. As the door closes, Ura wonders if he thought she really wouldn't notice him and mutters that it should be fun keeping him as a pet since he has nothing else to offer. Jack arrives at the house, Unit 1303, and rings the bell, asking if anyone is home since he bought the mattress up for them. He asks if they can please open the door, but he unexpectedly hears some crashing sounds from inside. Confused, he rings the bell again, but a voice from inside angrily tells him to stop ringing the doorbell and asks if he can't wait a single minute. Jenna appears and furiously asks what he wants. Jack nervously says he's brought their mattress, like she requested, so Jenna annoyingly says he should have called her first, and reminds him that it's rude to suddenly show up like this. Jack remarks that he's known Jenna Yang since middle school, and even back then, she was a notorious delinquent and a bully who used to pick on him all the time for being poor, and became a resident here after marrying a rich old man. As he starts pushing the mattress in, Jenna tells him to be careful with that, since she's going to make him reimburse her if he causes any damage, since that's an expensive mattress. Jack accidentally bumps it into the table when he greets her dog, so Jenna tells him to just do his job and to not act chummy with her dog just because he walked her a few times, saying he should know his place as a security guard. Jenna apologizes to Bonbon and puts her in a cage, asking if she's upset because she had to stay inside the crate. Jack wonders why she's keeping Bonbon inside a crate when it's such a well-behaved dog, and if it can be animal abuse. My guy thinks he's smart. However, he notices that Bonbon seems happy and realizes that doesn't seem to be the case, as Jenna asks if she's hungry and if she would like something to eat. Jack sets up the mattress and asks if this will do, but Jenna frustratingly asks if he expects her to swap the mattress and tells him to wait here while she decides how she wants to place it. Jack doesn't say anything as a vein pulses in his temple. He sets the mattress down but suddenly realizes that this is the perfect chance. He inwardly questions if he should try the hypnosis on her and pets Bonbon, asking how she is and why she was locked inside a crate. Bonbon slowly walks away, seeing which Jack confusingly asks where she's going. In the room, Jenna stares at her bed and wonders if she should just leave it as it is. Bonbon suddenly woofs, so Jack pats it on the head, asking if she's asking for more. Jenna gets out of the room, so Jack suddenly shows her the hypnosis screen on his phone. When nothing seems to happen, Jack wonders if everything was just a product of his imagination, and Jenna angrily asks what he's playing at and grabs his tie, reminding him that he's just a security guard now and shouldn't address her by her name. Jenna furiously declares that she'll sue him for invasion of privacy. Jack hurriedly asks her to calm down first and wonders if Thing was a fake. Jack tries to convince her to let him go and assures her that this was just a prank he discovered. She slowly says he should forget what he saw today, and Jack quickly decides to leave now. Jenna reminds him that he still has to help her place the mattress, since it's not something a delicate woman like her could do. Jack sees that he can change out some options for Jenna on his phone and asks if he should take out her old mattress first. Later, Jack says he swapped the mattresses and asks if she wants him to get rid of this. Jenna seems to be in a daze and mutters that she'll reimburse him with the disposal fee later. As Jack is about to leave, she suddenly stops him and blushingly offers a cup of coffee before he goes. Surprised, Jack agrees, wondering what's gotten into her. As Jenna brings some coffee for him, Jack worryingly wonders what the hell is going on here and admits this is really uncomfortable. He sees that she used instant coffee and remarks that he thought she only drank expensive coffee. As she's about to set the tray down, Jenna excitedly offers to give him some snacks as well. But she accidentally spills coffee on Jack's pants. Surely that wasn't done on purpose, right? Jenna angrily asks Jack how he dared to take a picture and declares that she's going to report him as she continuously kicks him. Jack remarks that she's throwing a fit, but there's no strength in her kicks. She declares that scum like him should be eradicated from this world and is about to ask if he knows who her husband is, but he suddenly grabs her hand, saying, "That's enough," like a pro wrestler who's ready to give it all back. Surprised, she asks what he thinks he's doing, wondering why he's suddenly gotten so assertive. She wishes her husband was 10 years younger and asks what he's doing, but he says he's tired of playing along with her little charade. Jack remarks that he was broke, so the only hobby he could pursue was working out at the residential fitness center because employees were allowed to use it for free. Having such a hobby is probably the reason he's managed to stay healthy. In fact, he's reaping the rewards of his labor right now. So this is all thanks to Hank Day, a 25-year-old gym rat who met Jack on a construction site, was single, and also worked as a security guard. Oh wow, two useless, good-for-nothings. Jack sees that the things he told him were real, so he's going to use it to own this whole place. Later, he inwardly says the status options he can control definitely increased, and wonders if that means he's able to access special options when he increases the conquest meter. For now, he decides to take his time and wonders who his next target will be. Days went by without anything happening, which Jack decides to be thankful for, and one day, he hears a boy desperately asking Ura to wait. Surprised, he questions if this is a lover's quarrel and sees the boy asking Ura why she hasn't been answering his calls. Standing with another girl, Ura says he's her ex-boyfriend now and sighs in exasperation. She asks if he followed them here to do this since she doesn't remember telling him where she lives. She asks if she didn't make it clear that she no longer has anything to say to him, so he slowly says he still doesn't understand why she's breaking up with him so suddenly. The girl sees that Ura must have done that again, and inwardly admits she feels bad for him since he seems to be a nice guy. She wonders if Ura is going to call the cops again and turns around to annoyingly ask Jack what he's looking at. She recognizes him as the guy she's seen at the gym and suggests that he mind his own business and get back to what he was doing. Jack slowly agrees and recognizes the guy as John Lee, the celebrity, and bets he didn't know this girl likes to toy with men for sport. Ura says she can't believe John is acting like this and admits it's disappointing. She tells him to look at her and stop crying. Don't worry, Jack. John is probably into that kind of behavior. Ura takes a photo of John and decides to post that he's sexually harassing her online, but Jack grabs her hand and says, "That's enough." The girl wonders when he got so close to her, as Ura asks Jack if he wants her to ruin his life as well and orders him to let go. He asks if she doesn't think she's being too cruel, even if John did something wrong. He offers John a hand, telling him to just think of this as a bump in the road and shake it off because he deserves better, seeing which Ura turns around. The girl asks if she's not going to say anything, but Ura tells her to just forget it since this thing's turned into a drag. She starts walking away, so the girl admits this is new for her, while Jack comforts John and tells him a man shouldn't cry so easily. Later, the girl mutters that security guard was pretty decent, but asks Ura what's gotten into her since she's still surprised Ura let the matter end like that. At the security guard's office, Hank receives a call and informs Jack that it was Bonbon's owner who wants him to walk her dog again, hearing which Jack sighs. When the doorbell rings, Jenna hurriedly opens it, but is surprised to see Hank instead. She asks where Jack is, so he says Jack went to help another resident, which is why he came here. He nervously adds that he's walked Bonbon a few times before this too, so Jenna asks if he's messing with her. He hurriedly asks why he would do that, so she wearily asks which resident asked for Jack, but he mutters that that's confidential. Meanwhile, Ura says the timing couldn't have been better and that she's really glad Jack came since she was in a bind. Jack acknowledges that it could be challenging for a woman to change the light by herself, and decides to wait for the right moment before using his phone on her like a big-brained mastermind. Ura asks if he got a new phone and decides to take a look, so she takes it out of his pocket. Jack asks her to wait, but she opens it to see the hypnosis screen in front of her. She asks what the hell this is and questions if he really believes in all this rubbish at his age, calling him a creep. Jack is about to fall off the chair, but he steadies himself and questions if she intends to blackmail him. She says it all depends on how he behaves. He mutters that she really is insane, so she calls him boring because of how flustered he is. She says men are really easy and uncouth and says he's just like the rest of them, but he argues that anyone would get flustered in this situation and orders her to hand over his phone. However, she remarks that she'll have her fun with him and have him sent to jail on trumped-up charges. She offers to return it if he agrees to hang out with her since there's nothing she enjoys more than teasing pathetic men. She remarks that men are big idiots who are only good for their physical strength. A cute smile and a bit of teasing is all it takes to have men eating out of her hand. It's pathetic because men are easy playthings and she's their master. She worryingly declares that she will never be like her mom and pushes Jack into the chair. She seductively says he may look manly now, but she can bet he's no different from her pathetic ex who he saw yesterday, begging at her feet. She says men are so easy to read because they're all the same. So Jack nervously asks what she wants him to do, so she menacingly orders him to do as she says if he doesn't want her to make his life hell. She asks what a lowlife like him is waiting for, seeing which Jack remarks that no one must have dared to discipline her since she was born rich. He recalls that her mom is a famous personality and admits his life can get destroyed by her. However, he unexpectedly slaps her. Shocked, she warns him that he'll be finished if her mom hears about this, but Jack quickly grabs his phone and tells her to take a good look. Confused, she asks if he's sick in her head and says something like this isn't real. Jack sees that she's weak in some areas. Ura asks if he seriously thinks something like this is going to work, and says he's the first man who dared to hit her, so she questions if he doesn't know who her mom is, like every fictional character who's about to get destroyed by the protagonist. However, Jack says he thinks she's the one who needs to come to her senses because this is a private room and he and she are the only ones here. Ura asks how that changes anything and declares that all she needs to do is make a phone call. Jack questions what she can do without her parents and declares that she's powerless if she can't call them, before saying he'll teach her to fear men. As the girl from before, Sage is in the gym. She receives a call from Ura and says it's rare for her to do that at this hour. Jenna is walking her dog in the park and angrily remarks that Jack definitely did this on purpose. A man stops to greet Bonbon, but she furiously asks who gave him permission to talk to her dog and tells him to go away, so he hurriedly apologizes. He wonders what her problem is while walking away when he didn't even touch her dog, and questions if she had a fight with her husband since she's acting like he was going to start fighting with the dog. Jenna frustratingly remarks that if there's a consolation, her husband is coming home early tonight, so she decides to prepare an event for him. Ura remarks that men are like livestock, except for that person. She was born into the global fashion house, Otrix, and had everything handed to her as she grew up. Her life was decided for her the moment she was born. Her life, her principles, and her future, they all belong to her mother since she was raised to someday inherit her company and become its next CEO. That was the path that had been set out for her, and she believed that nothing was going to change in her tedious life. But the year she turned 20, a boy suddenly confessed to her with a handwritten letter, which was already rare back then. She had heard the story of her dad doing the same, and she thought of it as a small act of defiance. But in truth, she rather liked it. It made her wonder if her parents' love story started the same way, and it was brief, but it reminded her of the time when her dad was still around. It made her feel a bit of happiness. One day, Ura's mother angrily orders her to break up with the boy this instant and asks what on earth's gotten into her. She reminds her that she told her to avoid good-for-nothing men. Ura tries to argue, but she orders her to be quiet and asks if she still doesn't understand that she is all she has left. She asks if she's trying to drive her crazy, but Ura apologizes and agrees to break up with him since she was wrong. That wasn't the first time her mother had hit her, so she had gotten used to it, but it made her want to escape this hellhole. Ura tells the boy that her mother had told her to break up with him and nervously asks if he wants to run away with her since she'll cut all ties with her mother, remarking that just like Dad, she had hoped he would get her out of that place. However, the boy mockingly asks if she's a kid who wants to run away from home and suggests that they just end this since it was already getting tiresome. Things aren't going to end well for him. Shocked, Ura asks what he just said, so he declares that he's fed up with her and her family since he thought it would be nice to date a pretty rich girl. But she's really hard to please, so they should just break up. Infuriated, Ura asks if it's all about looks and money for him, so he questions if that wasn't obvious and exasperatedly tells her to just stop bothering him from now on. That was how Ura's first inane relationship ended. After a few days, Ura enters a construction site and dully asks her bodyguard why she asked her to come here, so she apologizes for having her come to a place like this and says her mother wanted her to see this for herself. She asks Ura to come with her, and Ura is stunned to see her ex-boyfriend sitting on the ground in a beaten-up state. He desperately swears that he's learned his lesson and begs for forgiveness, declaring that he will never date a girl for her money again before admitting that what he did was wrong. Hearing that, Ura started laughing and realizes that he doesn't exist. No man will ever get her out of here, so she just has to live the life her mother has set for her. She tells the boy to beg for forgiveness and wonders if this is what men are like, surprised that she once liked this thing in front of her. From that day, all men were just toys to her, no better than stray dogs.